We're live.
Don't worry.
Is there a monitor? Oh, just
You want to scooch over to
Oh, yes. There you go. Now it's tracking your
Over
face.
this way.
Well,
now you must move everything exactly.
Did we do the animation already?
The anime. Yeah, I mean it's on the game now.
Yes, we're
Oh, we are.
Really?
Oh, sorry for the
hi.
sorry for the disarray.
Oh, hi! Didn't see you there.
We'll get our cues better next week, or actually in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much for joining with us, by the way. And I know that the schedule on this is different this week than typically. Normally we meet together on Sundays. Those of you following us on YouTube, this kind of doesn't make too much difference to you one way or the other, but we appreciate those of you who are following us live on Twitch. Everybody new who's joining us on Twitch also, thank you very much. This is Zealots of Zul, our second part of our weekend two-pack, get it? Two-pack.
wow.
Sure.
Cool. It's all right. Again, I can give you the pity you need.
Thank you. Right. Well, we're never short on pity.
We're gonna get Cliff some help. We are,
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Cliff Dunn. I'm the Dungeon Master, and this is our Sword and Sorcery campaign, Zealots of Zul. We're going to introduce everybody around the table. This is our first full house in a while. We haven't had all of our Zealots here in a while. And part of the reason that we're getting together this Saturday is because the holidays are coming up, so we're going to have some different schedules to account for the realities of life outside of gaming. So we appreciate you being flexible with us. And once January rolls back around, we are both going to be continuing our regular schedule and adding a lot more additional programming too. And we appreciate the support that we've gotten both on Facebook and other social media, and also right here, and the dearth of people that are following and offering support. We also want to thank our primary sponsor, the Adventure Game Store and Dragon's Lair, without whom we would not be here. Yes, Brian is my father. And we really appreciate the space. And it's a very exciting time, too, because if you're in the greater Fort Lauderdale area at any given time, a lot of the folks that patronize the store don't live in this area, but still make the trek to come here. A lot of cool things happening, which you'll be able to find on social media. But the Adventure Game Club part of things is now getting kicked off, where the cafe side serving food, so you'll be able to play your games and never ever leave the place. Neat.
I'm gonna get caught.
yeah, it's good because you mentioned there's life outside of gaming. I don't understand.
Yeah, I know. I meant that in sort of the abstract.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
It's
find-
like when we go home and sleep. But
Exactly.
Right.
What is sleep?
It's an theoretical
theory,
thing.
we have
Bring the
real
cot
life.
for
In
it.
theory, yeah, I got it.
It's the thing you tried to do at night.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
On
It's like
paper, we have
Plato's
real life.
idea of the forms. They may exist.
But nobody's ever seen them.
Exactly.
Well, I remember a great fantasy story that appeared in an early issue of the Dragon magazine by Roger Moore, who was a contributing editor, about a gamers group that found a wish ring, and their wish was to be their characters. So
That sounds horrible.
Never wish that.
Oh, wow. I'm about to say, which one?
Yeah, that's it.
So, when last we all sort of individually and collectively met, you were in various areas of the city-state of Vadashar. Alexides has been more or less working with the archpriest in the cult of Baal, and that's been where you have been up to the last couple of weeks in Jake's absence. Everybody, let's starting with Jake. Let's introduce everybody at the table and tell them who your characters are, and then we'll pick up.
Cool. Hi, my name is Jake Petrovsky, and I play Alexides. I am a Quranian noble from Kuranapur who has been exiled or self-exiled from the Empire, and now find myself living and working in Vadashar as a subdeacon in the Temple of Baal.
Hello, I am Mike. I play Alice. I am Master Rogue of Vadashar, born and raised in Vadashar. Been here a very, very long time. seen a lot of stuff. And looking for some other worthy adventurers to join me.
Hi, I'm Scott Coventry. I play Arslan. I am a Trancosi rogue, and I'm living proof that everything you've heard about the Trancosi is not always necessarily true.
What if you've never heard nothing of the
I've never heard
Trancosi?
of
Heard
nothing.
nothing.
Oh, well, that's what you are.
Right this way.
Yeah, okay.
Hi, I'm Anna. I play Sabine. She is a bard and spy type creature who's doing her best to try to keep the rest of these people alive because they have a tendency to move towards not doing so. And she's from some place.
Can't that be said of all life is moving towards that inert state anyway? They're just trying to
She's trying to slow down the process.
Speak for yourself. Thanks to denial, I'm immortal.
and denial is not just a river in Keeman.
It's a state of being.
You're heading towards a great something. A great perhaps is what it was. That was the quote.
Hi, I'm Kyle Jablonski, and I'm playing Ibn al-Kepri, the humble Kimish guide, ranger, if you will. And looking forward to the fight tonight, and a little later on, no doubt a touching reunion with family sometime in the future.
It's fight night.
Oh,
Fight night. Yeah, of course. It's a family man.
of course, yeah. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm going to be playing Anupam Dewar, the Gudwaran monk. I am also very excited for the fight today, and I'm also very excited to unveil my new character next week.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
There's no game next week.
I should also mention, he meant in the abstract next week.
Yeah.
And of course, next week we are taking a week off for a long Thanksgiving weekend, but it's a good chance for you to play catch up and or mustard if that's your preference.
Go roll some dice with your family.
We also want to take a second here to introduce another, and last but certainly not least, a new but extremely important member of our cast, Izzy Coventry, who's going to be helping us on the program as our...
Just lean over.
Hey, you don't
Just like stand behind Kyle and his like face.
Over here.
Yeah, there you go.
She's going to be the...
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's our oracle, and essentially she's the conduit between those of you who are participating live in the Twitch stream that want to talk on social media, while we're live broadcasting, and the rest of us. And she'll feed us messages, and she did a fantastic job last week, also reaching out and doing a PR for us in the Twitchverse. So welcome, Isabel. Thank you, Richie. I keep sliding. Speaking of entropy, my entropic side is to starboard. So we'll pick up where. And the other thing too is Attalus. Mike was not with us last week, but while he was gone, Attalus had been 2 weeks ago. One of the events that the Zealots encountered was Attalus and I think was it just you, Attalus, or was it just you? Okay, Attalus came across the mangled and torched corpse of an old friend of his who had been subject to violence and then had been burned. And later on, later events brought him before the head of one of the more vicious gangs in the city, which is made up of most of the city's beggars. And apparently this Ralto the Jewel, who was a former master thief in Badashar, the one who had been killed, in recent years he had sort of fallen, into, he had hit bottom and he had become a beggar himself, and so he had fallen into the ranks of the Beggar King's army. And so Attalus has been kind of off trying to track down some leads on behalf of the Beggar King as to what might have happened to Ralto, and we'll touch on that a little bit as things go also. So anyway, thank you very much. Welcome, and we'll pick things up. Alexides, you haven't been with us. Well, Alexides has been with us, but Jake hasn't. You were the last time we were playing. You were with the Archpriest. Am I right? Or no?
So last week,
Yeah.
So I guess I can do a recap. So last week, we all sort of met up at the Ziggurat, where Anupam was training for the fight with his supposed countrymen. There was a lot of Scooby-Dooing that went on. We ran back and forth between different rooms, and then different people had conversations. A lot of conversations happened with Alexides, which was fantastic. There was a lot of catching up to do. Kepri had asked me to entreat with the Archpriest on his behalf to get an introduction letter to the patrician so that he could attempt to set up an embassy.
Kimbish embassy, trading post, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Exert more influence as the coils of the snake tighten.
And Sabine asked for a private aside with Alexides to ask for a favor, which in exchange Alexides asked Sabine for a favor, so those two sort of canceled each other out. And then Alexides wrote a letter to the patrician, or the Archpriest gave an introduction. Alexides and Kepri went to the great Casbah and met with
Chamberlain,
the Grand Chamberlain to deliver the note. Kepri had a brief conversation, and then we all sort of came back together, and I believe Arslan and Anupam went to the Gilded Palm to try to find out I don't remember why it was that you went, but I do remember that the owner and managers of the #Murder Circus were there, and that is when Anupam was persuaded to fight the giant Bergothian, as opposed to the person that he was originally intending to fight in the #Murder Circus. So.
No regrets.
And the rest of the group, so Kepri, Sabine, and Alexides, were last seen returning from the #Murder Circus, where they tried to get more information about Anupam's opponent.
possibly
and then
poison.
The whole group sort of collided into each other, and now the five of us are all together. Where Anupam is now fighting this new guy. Arslan came and told us all, I can't believe he's fighting this new guy.
The giant.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I believe we did leave off like that same instant where
Yes.
that happened.
Yes. And that is where we were at.
So no narrative magic needed. Somehow we all managed to split the party and get it right back together.
We just don't have Atlas.
Well, of course, Atlas was supposed to meet us, and it
Oh,
all
there
just
it is.
magically come together, yes.
That is where we were at.
Kepri, did you ever do we know what the I'll get this out first. The region that of Kemet that Kepri comes from, have we discussed that?
I don't believe we have at the moment.
Okay, Gira. Yeah,
Okay.
G-I-R-A. Because I had written it down, I wasn't sure. Okay. So in essence, what you're looking to do is introduce an embassy from Gira to Vadashar.
Exactly.
Okay. So where do you find yourself at this juncture, Alexides?
We are...
I'm about to watch Anupam die.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, what time is that fight? Is it because
It was on the morrow.
Yeah, so it's tomorrow. So
Correct.
we have time to have a living wake.
And Alexides had a
We'll do fine.
on a side note, Alexides had a private letter sent to the patrician.
You don't have a living wake for somebody who
He
you
is
think is
taking
going to be fine.
he is taking full advantage of the fact that
Just
he acts
an
as
excuse to drink.
subdeacon
That's all.
and helps assist in sending and receiving communications on behalf of the Archpriest, that he has used the same channels
Sure,
to send some of his
absolutely.
own private mail.
Yeah, you use the Archpriest stationery for your own correspondence.
Correct.
Too. Who's to know the difference? No, I get that.
I mean, this is priority mail.
And one of the messages that you sent throughout the course of the day was a letter requesting
a game of backgammon with the betrayed.
Okay. And so was there other business that you wanted to take care of apropos of had you talked to the archpriest about the senator from Quran?
I had not. Oh, I actually.
You.
Oh, I did.
You spoke to the Chamberlain, and I believe he said something about him being. He lives in like one of the districts because he made it out basically intact with his wealth.
I remember I had asked Arslan I asked Arslan and Sabine if they had ever heard of this person.
I remember
Arslan said that he had, I think, in passing. Sabine, everyone had sort of heard of him, but nothing particularly descriptive. No one knew where he was definitively. It was just sort of like, yeah, we've heard about that guy.
Sabine knew of him from his
and you asked
authorship.
me to find
Because he had written a book.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember
several books.
I remember a conversation being had, and you spoke to. I think it was the Chamberlain about basically how he got this guy was exiled, but he had enough pull to basically make it out with his wealth intact.
Correct.
Basically.
Thousands of miles.
Yeah, of course.
I think it was either the Chamberlain or the Archpriest. I believe I did speak to the Archpriest about it.
Okay. It's one of the two. Point is, speaking words were had.
Yes.
And when I get a chance, I would like to go talk to Godrigo.
Godrigo. Okay, sweet.
Bardis Azul.
Bardis and Azul.
Sure.
And the murder circus people were Lonan and Carpos.
Ronan, Carpos, and Bolsa.
And first thing that morning, a messenger comes from the Great Casbah bearing a scroll with a sealed scroll on it. And when you open it up, you see it's a note from a scribe from the patrician. It's got the patrician seal on it. The outer seal has the patrician of Badishar seal on it, and it says, "My Lord Alexides, it would be a pleasure to entertain you and to meet your associate from Kemet in the hour before noon today."
Okay.
Unexpected. Rubbing shoulders.
Do you put new serpents in your beard?
You know, this is starting. I don't know if
Is Kepri clean shaven or?
Yeah, Kepri is pretty clean shaven. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't do the bald thing. He's not a quote unquote traditionalist. I mean, if he goes back home, he'll shave, but he doesn't have a beard.
He's got a good buzz cut going.
He keeps it short.
Yeah.
When he gets home, he does the whole proper shave it bald and use the sugar candy, the gum candy to remove all the hair.
Well, otherwise you get that.
It's a waxing technique that they put a sugar on and they. But it also has the benefit of killing microbes and things like that.
The Kimish are very clean people.
They are.
And no sand lice.
Exactly.
And have hair.
No sand lice, gross.
Much like us, we must all have Kimish in us. So Alexides, so you received that.
Okay. So I guess I have to find Kepri. Where did, I guess if this is the next day, where did everyone end up staying that night? So I stayed in the ziggurat.
I'll probably still stay in the ziggurat until they kick me
Bazaar.
out.
I suppose I was, with
Great soup.
the bazaar too, I suppose. I advocated for staying at our, looking after our tower, but our new acquisition, but the did not want to do it alone. Just no one else volunteered at the moment.
It's not an acquisition until you go and make the claim.
We do. We still need
Although we've started with the claim, Sabine went out and basically told everyone
It's a step-by-step process. We're gonna flip this. We're gonna flip this tower.
We're going to flip it. We're going to live there for 2 years so that we don't have to pay the tax on it, and then we'll flip it. Okay. So I will do my basic duties that morning, and then I will head over to Arslan's place to fetch Kepri.
And you do.
And I'd head there in the morning to his place, his stall.
Okay.
Seems to be a gathering point for them.
And Sabine, you were...
Well, it's also near where the circus is. So.
And I know you're you're actually heading over to the Caravanserai, which is on the outskirts of the city, to meet with this Godrigo.
Alexis, so nice to see you.
My teamish friend, it would seem that fortune has smiled upon the both of us.
Oh, no doubt from my influence, of course.
Of course. The patrician has sent word that he himself would grant us audience in the hour before noon today.
Oh, well, I suppose I will have to get a little cleaned up then for proper royalty.
Do so, and I shall meet you at the ziggurat, and we shall head over to the Grand Casbah together.
Oh, very well. Did the letter say anything in particular, or just that he wishes to meet with us?
I believe that he's partial to a game of backgammon.
I'll leave that to your hand. I'll have to introduce him to Senat some other time.
Very well.
Backgammon. Not as challenging.
Few games rarely are. But that's all right. We can't all have the nice. Not to say nothing bad about against backgammon. I'm sure it's a fascinating game, and I'd love for you to teach me sometime, as I shall teach you Senat sometime.
Fair enough.
I'll also have to teach you about hounds and jackals. That's fun.
Your people's games sound... I hope that they're as entertaining as the names are off-putting.
They are true games. They are games worthy of a patrician.
Fair enough. I shall see you soon.
Very well. See you and Capri goes up to scrub.
Okay. There are public baths. I mean, the
I'm
place...
gonna follow him up. I'm gonna talk to him. I know, it'd be very helpful.
With who?
Well,
The room.
Oh,
public baths, people are
It's public
bathing
bath.
together all the time. Yeah.
Oh, it's a public bath. It's yeah.
No. Half the people in my land run around half naked. It's not awkward for me at all.
I have a question. Will you be able to fulfill those silk contracts that they're going to talk to you about?
Yes, that is the question. I believe my home is a gateway to the rest of Zul itself. Gira is a lot passes through slaves from the Almarak and ivory from the Black Kingdoms. I believe, and my family does have no small amount of pull. So I believe it will take some time, but it is a doable prospect.
You know that there is the Silk Guild that is very dangerous here. So we'll have to figure out how to deal with that.
The Dyers Guild.
The Dyers Guild, correct.
I
Sorry.
have heard a smattering of them, and I intended to.
There are a couple of ways of going about it. One would be to cut them in and make it a smooth transition. The other would be to cut them out and go through an underground war.
Well, seeing as how that this little pet project, if you will, humor for me for a moment, is rather new in the bud, not even a freshly hatched egg. I think for the time being, the smart thing to do, at least obviously you are the native here, so I will defer to your wisdom at the moment, is to seek to make common cause and audience with the Dyers Guild. At least,
I agree. We're not ready for a war.
at least for the time being. Perhaps later on.
I say as if I'm part of this silk trade at the moment.
Oh, don't worry, you feature into plans. None of them good.
And we're all in this together.
I actually meant to speak to you on a little bit later time to see about you assisting your aid in other matters, in addition to the contacts with the Silk Road. I'm, I'm to leave in a few weeks to meet my sister and attempt to guide her through to Batishar.
You're going out through the wilderness alone?
Not necessarily me. That's why
We should all go.
I would say that.
Exciting.
I have yet to bring it up with our dear party, as I have been waiting to see the results of today.
Yes.
After all, I'm sure I will have to, no doubt, compensate everyone for their time. I would not dare rely on our friendship for such a task.
That's excitement. What friend wouldn't want to go?
I'm sure. I'm glad to hear that you're willing to do this on the good graces of my heart alone.
What?
Yes,
I'll see you after your meeting. Enjoy your time with Patricia.
I'm sure I will. We'll talk more.
I know I said I was going to do it for the graces.
That's what I was saying.
I
was
didn't
like,
just agree to that.
Yeah, like, hold on a second.
Sabine, what do you know about Godrigo?
Only what we have in common.
Okay, and so do you know? Let me rephrase that. You obviously have been given, or maybe not obviously, you were given information on where you could find him, and he has a stall in the caravanserai. But
I would imagine I would have gone to see him well before now, so I probably know at least, what he looks like and have touched base with him.
Okay, correct. All right. So you know that he's an older man. He's in his 50s, and his business is he's a buyer's agent. So his stall is loaded with various samples. He's got rugs. He's got different types of textiles. He's got samples of decorative woods, and they're all sort of stacked up in various, in various places. And some of them are on display in a nicer way. You get the sense that mostly depends on the people who are selling whatever he's selling and how valuable it is. So yeah, you have met him before, and when you get to his shop, you see somebody is leaving, and he's escorting them outside to the street, and he sees you, and he make a perception roll.
15.
Okay.
You have to take part of your dice stack.
It's always a sad story.
He gives you he gives you a sign to meet him around back as he finishes his business with the citizen. And a few minutes later, you meet him in the back of his shop. Well, my friend, I thought not to see you so soon.
I didn't realize I had so many, a finite amount of chits that I could call in.
What is your charisma?
17.
Okay. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I enjoy both the company and the particular company.
Maybe.
It is just that in our line of business, it is perhaps less assured the regularity with which we will encounter one another.
Indeed.
It's also not a good idea to show yourself during the light of day.
That's
Sneezing on the truth. I am kind of dressed in my...
He knows you're lying because you sneezed.
I am kind of dressed in my Layla costume. I'm going to sneeze again. Hold on.
Bless you again.
Thank you.
And for the benefit of all, describe.
Like a ochre gold hair wrap, so you can't see my hair. Like a thin gold kind of like veil front of the face, like padding around the hips and stuff, so it kind of changes the kind of look of my body a bit. But I mean, like, you know, I would have lowered my veil a bit when I was walking near him so you can see who it was. You know, not looking overly like myself, kind of blending in, like more like browns and like commoner clothes, which with a bit of finery that like would be kind of not unexpected for somebody who's like selling things at the bazaar, like kind of wearing some of the wares, but not really, but can't really afford it all on their own, kind of thing. So just kind of blending in, like somebody who would be around the caravanserai and going back and forth to
Right.
anyway. Yeah.
A nondescript
Yeah.
woman, and you've got a 17 charisma, but you're toning it down a little
like
bit. With
covered. Really, all you can see is like, you know, you know, like 3/4 of my hands and my eyes, unless I take like the veil down.
He goes and he gets 2 small cups and a decanter, and he opens it and pours an orange-colored nectar out, which you recognize as Tranja from back home. And he offers you one,
Thank you.
and he sips.
After he sips, I take a small sip.
Roll a d20.
Oh, fuck.
17.
Okay.
Switch drinks.
Just, you know, get me on your toes.
What's that over there?
Never gonna land more in Asia with. No.
I'm so glad you thought the same thing I did.
Yes.
So tell me, Sabine, what can I do for you?
There are 2 things. The first is I need to know the location of Bardesanisur. Could that be provided to me?
I'm certain it could be. Why do you want to know? And I am hoping that the second thing you want to know is where my bed is.
Godrigo, you know it's never wise for us to mix business with pleasure, and it would of course be a pleasure with you. Perhaps one day.
I know no such thing, actually.
I am very much working right now.
What do you want with this Quranian?
It is a favor that has been exchanged for another favor that will help me do my work. Are you requiring a favor in turn?
It may perhaps jar my memory a little bit.
And would this favor have to do with the location of your bed?
It might do.
Well, then I'd say it would certainly be possible that such a favor could be exchanged.
Then come. Let us discuss it. I will tell you everything you wish to know about this Quranian senator.
Very well. Let's see what you know about this Quranian senator, and that will determine how well we find the location of your bed.
Make a let me see.
Performance check.
What's that?
Performance.
Not yet.
Yeah, that would probably work best. Yeah, give me a performance check.
Okay.
Actually, no, give me a persuasion. Give me a persuasion.
We're not there yet. 19 plus 3.
Damn.
22.
He tells you he lives in an estate that once belonged to the old kings of the city. It is called Land's End. I can tell you what it is. It is easy to find. Probably not without irony. He was not born too far distant from here, in the Coronian province that lies to the west of here and Vinar.
Interesting.
You should be careful.
Why is that?
People in our line of work have a tendency not to live very long without friends.
I would hope that I had some friends. I always considered you a friend, but slide my hand onto his knee.
And he seizes your hand. I have associates, some closer than others. How persuasive do you let him be?
What is he trying to persuade?
Well, I mean, let me say it a different way. You get the sense that he would be open to expounding the boundaries of your professional relationship.
How useful and well connected do I believe him to be?
Well,
That's a good question for you at this
that
point.
is a very good
That is a
question.
good question.
That's logic.
Determine
You
the
gotta-
value of
That
this.
is.
Is it still a business transaction?
Well,
He
me
made
say-
that abundantly clear when he said we're associates.
I would offer that. I mean, people from. He would be a useful ally to have, certainly, and in particular, in relationship to the questionable relationship you might be having with the ambassador. So, I mean, it just depends. I mean, there's nothing in it for me personally, so.
Yeah, I mean, Sabine has no problem using every resource at her disposal to get what she needs. I would like to roll insight on him to find out.
Make an insight check.
I want to know if Godrigo is capable of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Well,
close one.
I would offer that, yes, everyone is capable of love.
You just gotta open your heart to it.
Depends about how deep you have to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But
That can work in so many.
but I would suggest that generally speaking, you know that this is probably his last stop, in terms of work. You know, I mean, he's not at the start of his career. He's
Right.
probably at the end of his career.
Could he be an alloy in the Duminoid for me? As opposed to just an ally in general.
Well, I think that.
Could he protect me from the Duminoid?
Well, I think that you could having somebody who knows information. I mean, generally speaking, a spy who has a friend who's another spy that knows information, from headquarters would be good to have.
It makes you more valuable too.
They're the last warning you get before the bad things.
Right,
really
yeah,
happen.
exactly.
You've been burned. Get out of town now.
Right, yeah.
We've all
I
seen
need
John Wick.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Actually,
I haven't either.
Good.
Oh, what do you mean
Yeah,
good?
but
John
I
Wick is
don't
good.
go to.
It's
It's
very
not,
good.
I'm not making a political statement. It's just I don't get to movies. I'm a TV person. But so as they used to say in the old days, triple space, triple space, triple space. And yeah, so you have a very adult conversation with Godrigo, who is make a performance roll.
Oh, great.
I mean, unless you like the guy.
I can make myself.
Well, that's a performance roll. Listen. What did you roll?
Oh, I know. I rolled a 2 plus whatever.
Okay,
Yeah, it wasn't
so did I mention, has the phrase beggars can't be choosers come out in the conversation? No, you and I were talking about that a few hours ago. So he's quite delighted. You know, it's like the phrase you used to describe the worst sex you've ever had in your life. Fantastic. So he's appreciative of the human contact, and you get the sense that yes, Godrigo is capable of loving.
I could use bardic inspiration on myself and
Love it.
Okay.
Inspire yourself.
No, it's okay. I mean, you did whatever. He's.
Okay.
I mean, he's.
Well,
he's
I wanted to.
did
be
I
more
mention?
convincing of that.
It's so cute. He's a 60-year-old man, and he's very happy.
Okay. All right.
He's telling everybody. He's telling the rabbi. He's telling the Episcopalian priest down the street. No, he's not telling.
A wise man once said, "Sex is a lot like pizza. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's still kind of good."
That's right. So, no, you get a sense. Make an insight roll.
Oh, 19 plus.
So you get the sense that you made just someone happy, and probably it will do a good. He tells you exactly where to find Asur, and he gives you some additional information about him.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What were you going to ask something?
No, I was just gonna say, you're making friends. Remember, it's always good to have. How does the old saying go? Beware of old men in professions where they die young, or something like that. So he's obviously
Just now.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I don't know if that's the
true.
exact wording of it, but I mean, yeah, if he's lived this long, he's a good ally to have, regardless of what he knows.
It's true.
You know what he knows? How to survive in Vadashar.
There you go. That's worth its weight in gold.
Mm-hmm.
Anupam, what were you going to be up to?
Meditating up until the fight.
Okay. And Atlas.
Heading over to the...
Okay.
The
After
garden.
you chap him up at the at the baths, you leave.
And if he wasn't there, I'd wait for him.
Okay. He gets back.
Yeah, the conversation wasn't that long. How are you?
I'm well.
Come in. Go in. I guess you're already in. You're in the waiting area, I guess. No, you can probably pick the lock.
So what's transpired in my absence?
What do you know about the Dyers Guild?
Well, I know they're very, very jealous of their trade and their products.
And I know that they're murderously jealous about it occasionally. And our Cometi friend and we are looking at potentially creating an opportunity for silk movement into Vadashar.
Interesting.
The question is, bring the Dyers Guild, the leadership in, or
Kill them?
give them their cut, or whatever it would have to be, or
Give him the cut or give him the cut.
or potentially be in a war with them. And we're not very large as a group, obviously, at this moment. I think we may be well connected, but I'm not sure we're more connected than them at the moment.
No. I think it's better probably to get his foot in the door, pay the price, and then renegotiate later.
I agree. I think that the renegotiating becomes the goal. But you have to survive long enough, and the only way to do that, I think, is to pay the price early.
Yes.
But if it is, because it is Cometi silk, there's absolute real value in it. It's very rare and very hard to obtain. And there's been a dearth of it for quite a while. So I think it would behoove us to start preparing the protectionist measures we would need to make sure that we survive this and turn it into something that can work for the group.
That's a good idea.
How goes it with the Beggar King and the search for
For clues?
For
As
clues.
to the persons that have murdered him. I'm still tracked down a few things, but I'm still looking, asking more questions than getting answers. So.
I mean, it was kind of distinct, the idea of burning his hands. That's unusual.
True.
I mean, to me, that would be the one place that would almost surely lead to at least a narrowing of the options. It seemed like a religious thing or a...
Maybe it was meant to send a message.
Right, who does that as their way of sending messages? Somebody does that. That's a very specific thing.
Oh, yes. I had some thoughts. I did want to go speak to one gentleman over here, the old storyteller. I know he frequents the
Yes.
up near the gate, so I wanted to
You'll
go
be
talk
buying
to
a
him.
lot of drink today, I guess. He talks better when he's lubricated.
No, a few derricks in his
Yeah.
palm. His tongue loosens.
Nice. I got a battle totem for Anupam. They've been making feel.
What is? Pray tell, what's happening?
Oh, no one told you.
No, I've been traipsing all over the city.
Today. Oh, he's in the other one. 90%. He won't be here by tomorrow. But maybe 10% he will.
I think there's a good betting opportunity there.
Oh.
Well, if things...
Although the real money would be on the betting for.
Right.
So he's battling the giant. The giant.
Did he get struck in the head one too many times?
Yes, but I think that was at birth, and he's been stuck in that same state for this whole time. But this battle totem maybe will give him the kind of energy he needs. It was good in 7 of 8 battles. Oh, but the last one, of course.
And when does this take place?
Today.
This evening?
Yes. Initially, he thought he was going to be fighting one of his own kind, among from the same place. And they baited him and switched him. Masterfully, I have to say.
He is very quick and very crafty.
He is. That's why I said 90%. I think there's a chance he can do it if things go the right way.
It's not as flashy as the serpent, but...
Definitely not.
But
he doesn't survive by a flash. The problem is how long can you last with him?
He's very capable.
He crushed a man in his armor.
Well, I just wear any armor.
That's true. He has nothing to be crushed in.
He has to catch him first.
I'm sure many people...
Did you see how quick he moves?
I have. And
I'm
sure,
quick and he's quicker than me.
I'm sure many people thought, I can use my quickness against him. And yet he still stands. But
We'll see.
I'm rooting for him.
I'm betting on you.
I hope he'll come out very wealthy tonight.
As do I.
Capri, you return to the ziggurat, and Alexides, you meet up with him, and you see that he looks like he's just had a full. He's shaved and looks very.
Spa treatment.
What's that?
It's full spa treatment.
Yeah. Debutee.
Creme de
Jour debutee.
Get the shake out the desert sand. Alexides. Good to see you again.
You as well, my friend.
And you take your leave of the ziggurat and you head towards Old Town, and at the center of it is where the Casbah is. This was formerly the King's Castle, and it's now the center of government where the patrician rules. You were already there previously, if memory serves, last week.
Yeah.
So you make your way back there. The city is busy, and it's getting towards autumn, so you can feel, or I should say it is autumn, so it's feeling a little chillier than it had been in the past.
You really should think about wearing heavier robes.
It's just that I am used to how we say slightly warmer places. I do not usually spend. This is probably the longest I've spent in a place for quite some time, if I'm being quite honest.
You would be wise to find yourselves more fitting dressings so as not to catch sick.
Oh, I'll look into that, but I think I will be all right. I have spent time in less than more hospitable places. Not to say that I enjoy it, of course. Only savages like the Bergothians enjoy this sort of weather. But I will consider it. I think something a little more heavier than silk would be nice.
Likely.
Wool, or perhaps war silk.
Yeah, I was gonna say also keep you warm.
Just right into the when you're taken into the Casbah, the place that you brought in, which is where the patrician both lives and carries on his business, is called the Seraglio, and it's a combination office suite and harem, and it's filled with dozens and dozens of courtiers who are there, mostly waiting about to do their to have some sort of business with the patrician. And the patrician himself is seated with a large number of people around him, dressed like it's summer. You have not met the patrician yet, have you?
We did briefly.
Okay.
At the Black Casbah.
Yeah, from get out of jail free.
That's right.
He did show up.
That's right. That was early on.
I'll have to compliment it on the efficiency and fairness of Quranian justice. And that we got. Sorry, Badishar. Jeez.
Yeah, that's not a mistake you make in public.
Yeah.
I can assure you.
I feel
No,
I can assure you.
Well, he's Quranian.
Quranian justice is
No, that
just as swift
you know what I mean.
and efficient.
Sure. All proper civilizations have their swift and just justice.
And the patrician is dressed in a short purple toga with a lot of gold highlights, and he looks genuinely happy to see you. As you're brought up to the dais, it has the suggestions of a royal court, but also some of the ethos of a more egalitarian setup. So he's a prince, but he's less of a monarch than a magistrate.
It's like that weird thing that the Romans have, where they technically don't want a king, but they kind of sort of have a king.
Right, which they call the Rex.
Yeah.
Am I in the right spot? Lord Alexides.
And Lord Prince Karad, it is nice to see you.
I'm glad that you were able to come on such short notice. I'm sorry that it took us so long to set this up. And is this your friend?
This is my chemish friend.
Your greetings, Your Excellency. I am. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ibn al-Capri. You may, if you wish, call me Capri for sure. It is a rather mouthful.
I shall do so.
Mante?
Please be seated and refresh yourselves. Refreshments for my guests.
I will take a seat.
Tell me about your. Now, I'm keen to hear about your request about an embassy. It has been a long time since the name Kemet has even been brought to my attention, except as the tales of Fear Babe.
I assure you, half those tales are exaggerated, and the other half are vastly understated. If you wish, I can regale you with the regale you with my request. But I seek. The times are. Let me speak frankly, Your Excellency. The times are changing. My people are set in many ways set in their ways, and
You come from an ancient culture.
indeed, and I am very proud of that. And would not trade it for all the silver in the Zul. The thing is, I believe in order for my home, my people, to continue, there must be adjustments to be made. And I believe that Vadishar, I have traveled the breadth and girth of Zul, and I believe of all the places that I have seen, Vadishar is of particular import. I believe by, how do I put this?
It's a great and unusual wherever you go.
Extending alliance offers. Merely, I ask of no grand military alliances or exclusive trade routes. I merely ask to extend the olive branch of friendship. And perhaps we, my people, and yours, will benefit greatly, no doubt. After all, my home, Girza, is rather close and is a major passing point through both Quran, my home, and the Kimit itself and the southern kingdoms, as well as to the north to an extent. Is a major choke point, shall we say, for trade. And I believe that opening up markets here will help my people and yours.
Well, Kimit also is strategically placed hugging the southern border with the Quranian Empire.
This is true.
Is that a comfortable situation for your people, friend Alexides?
I would say that.
I don't mean to catch you unawares.
I appreciate the deference in the matter. I personally have no problem with it, as I don't see any real threat to my people from such a small and insignificant country.
And just a sidebar, Kimit is actually a very large.
I know.
Okay, I got you.
And prosperous country.
I know.
Right. Okay.
Alexides.
For the benefit of those watching. Well, let me first offer that clearly, geographically, we would not be neither one of us, I suspect, would be in a position to negotiate a military alliance at this point.
No.
And as I understand, you are not speaking for His Majesty King
I do not speak.
Neferhotep.
I do not speak on Neferhotep's behalf. I speak on my home, and my home does carry some sway within the.
And I do not mean in any way to denigrate the proposal or your people. If I come across that way, then I
Think nothing of it. You have not offended me or my ilk
Good.
at all.
I would also then say that, but commercial alliances are certainly always welcome. Badashar is the jewel of the Valley of Caliph.
A many-faceted jewel it is.
And I think that many of the stuffs that come out of the valley, from our unsurpassed livestock to the wines that fetch the highest price, is all over the continent, would be excellent. Do your people drink wine, by the way?
We do, actually. I would be love to. We actually have a very particular. Well, it is not our main source of alcohol, source of spirits. We do have a small special vintage. I'll have to give it to you, a gift next time. It is a nice spiced one.
Well, perhaps your embassy can bring some with them this time, or on a subsequent journey. I'm certain there's. We don't have to. We after all do not have to do all of our living in one afternoon.
Of course.
Some of us do.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
As I said, As I said, this is merely a stepping stone to a larger, grander friendship and relationship. A trade is always good, as much as some factions within my home would rather clam up and close up and bury themselves into the ground like a beetle or one of those flightless birds from the Black Kingdoms.
Might I interject and ask how exactly you propose to get your wares from Kemet to Vadashar?
Surely you don't suggest sorcery.
Oh, not unless you wish it. I could, perhaps some other time. Sorcery is a rather touchy subject amongst my kind, my peoples.
I meant no offense.
Oh, no. None taking. My lord patrician, you won't have to do much to offend me.
But in speaking to Lord Alexidy's point,
you're right. It is a challenge. However, my family, though they do not have the ears of a Neferhotep, perhaps as much as I would like. We do have much in the way of distribution and movement of goods. We are more than capable, if not establishing caravansary routes, then sending caravansary routes.
well, I have nothing but excellent thoughts towards receiving an embassy from is it Gira?
Yes.
From Gira, and exploring all of the possibilities between enriching your own people and mine.
And where is Gira exactly geographically?
It's in the very north eastern part of Kemet, right? So it's actually south of it's far south of Quran. Well, it's south of Quran.
Theoretically, would you have to go through the Quranian-controlled
No.
territories? Okay.
No, that's what makes this such a lucrative distribution opportunity is Kemet can get all the stuff from it.
Well, actually, let me rephrase that. Actually, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's a question. It just depends on how you go. I mean, it depends on how you go. See, the Howling Waste is to the south of Vadashar, and that borders on lands to the east of Kemet. So it just depends on how you would go there. I mean, nobody ever has, unless you're at war. There's not a problem with caravans going through People's International. Typically, they pay a toll or a tax to be able to travel through. For instance, when they get to Fort Zayad in Quran, which is where they're going to be coming through,
Yes.
they'll have, if they're bringing anything valuable, they'll have to pay
Yeah,
duties
but
and duty on it.
I
Correct.
believe that I could assist in negotiating a more favorable tax on your goods in the Quranian Empire.
Would you do that for me? My
Of
Lord
course.
My Lord Patrician, as you can see, I am blessed with great friends.
Life is better with friends, as we are discovering through this negotiation.
Today's hashtag.
Hashtag best.
Hashtag I get by with a little help.
I might be of the disposition to do so, but would,
If I'm amply compensated.
yes, would need to understand what would be in it for me. I am seeking to, in some ways, increase my positive image within my family, and most notably with my father. And perhaps negotiating a trade route between a Kemish settlement, with whom we've had not so great reputation and relations.
And it's a province. It's an important province.
It's in the past. It's in the past.
But perhaps this negotiation of a trade route and by some way highway between the two endpoints of said trade negotiation would benefit and favor all three of us.
As you know, the Quranian Empire has a somewhat checkered reputation here because of past experiences. I bear no people or persons any ill will from the past. My brief is to create a better place in this city-state for all of those who dwell here, both those who are without and those who have the power to affect change, positive and otherwise. That having been said, whatever goodwill that can be brought to bear from Quran to the people of Vadashar, I think would go a long way towards improving relations long term. And if I may say, your father has a much more wholesome reputation in that particular regard than his own father did.
Yes, my grandfather had a rather storied history and reputation, I assure you.
Well, you must know Bardasan Asur, the Quranian senator.
I do not actually. However, I have been trying to make inroads with him, if you would be so kind as to provide an introduction.
1,000 times yes, that will be the least I can do.
Well, that's much appreciated.
We are building so many roads today. Roads of friendship and literal roads, I suppose. As of the moment, this is all in merely not even a hatchling yet. I assure you, when time comes, we will be able to bring this trade route and much more into fruition. We intend to, if everything goes as planned, and Lord Apophis and Lord Baal willing, we will be, Vadashar will be enriched beyond measure with many such items. We have many things to give for trade. Of course, you heard of Chemish silks, of course, something that we are working on. A rather harder commodity to close off, to get in our little closed off hermit kingdom. But I think if we are able to make this work, there will be more to go around. To say nothing of the other things.
At some point, we'll have to bring in Potafan, the merchant.
Oh, yes, I suppose we will.
And who is that?
The head of the Dyers Guild.
Ah, I've heard such things as.
He was gonna. You get the make a perception roll.
Uh, 11.
Clearly, he was going to call him something else, but he caught himself. So he was.
He does not have as high opinion of him as he probably should.
I'm just gonna tell you ahead of time, so he's not gonna sleep with that one for a baby.
It's all good.
Well, yes, I have, obviously the groundwork must be laid, but you seem very, as we have already discussed, you seem very amenable to this. I would hope that you would give this your blessing.
I am. My first responsibility, even beyond myself, even beyond my responsibility to myself, is as chief magistrate of the city-state. So I will weigh everything through the vision of that brief. But that having been said, there is nothing that I feel cannot be benefited by a stronger commercial presence for what we have to offer here in the Valley of Caliph, and I think that Hemet is an excellent market for that.
It does my heart wonders to hear this, and I believe this is merely the first step in a long and prosperous friendship, multifaceted friendship between our peoples.
And the prince also has...
Yes, of course. He, no doubt, negotiating such safe passage and a less than harsh duties upon any goods that come from north in the Quranian Empire and above would no doubt do much to ease tensions between our sometimes litigious peoples, and no doubt aid you in particular, Alexides, friend Alexides.
I believe that this is a fair and amenable situation and or negotiation, and I would be happy to do what I can to assist in creating such favorable circumstances for the trader.
Excellent.
Ah, Balmer. And the prince's great chamberlain approaches and bows deeply. And rises a lot more slowly than he bows. But that's probably his aged bones. And he said, would you please make certain that Lord Alexides is given an introduction to his countryman, Lord Bardasena Asur, and told how to find him? He lives in a rather homey estate beyond the city's precincts.
Okay.
Thank you, friends. We
Well-
shall continue this, and I shall look forward to receiving you and your ambassador.
And I believe I owe you a game of backgammon.
I would love to.
Memory saves.
I would love
You
to
do.
learn this game. I'll have to next time. I will have to teach you. Have you ever played Senat?
I have not.
Oh, you will love it. It is the patrician's game. It is a game of thinking, strategy, and much to be thought.
I don't spend nearly as much time as I'd like to on diversions such as this. My wife, well, you know.
Yes.
Well, I assure you,
wife
we
doesn't
will
let him
be.
game.
We shall be
Who's ever heard of that?
good company, for one such as yourself deserves to spend time with those of appropriate standing. But you are a river to your people, and you do a fine job.
Well said, Lord Alexides.
I will have to introduce you sometime to the ambassador. She is. I hold her in high regard.
Indeed.
Oh, my apologies. I did not mention if I may be so bold, if you find me as charming and lovable as any other Kimish you can find, she is my sister. She is a clever woman and a charmer to boot.
I will be honored to meet your sister.
Oh, of course. No doubt you will be seeing much more of her, if, provided, of course, our little hatchling does not. Our little plan goes to fruition.
Then we shall hold a good thought.
Now about this game of backgammon.
And you have a game of
Okay.
backgammon. We're going to take a quick break for nature and come back. Thanks for staying with us. And we're back. Thank you very much for sticking with us through the break. I'm Cliff Dunn. Welcome back to Zealots of Zul. This is a kind of a sandbox adventure, at least as much as it can can be within the confines of the city-state, right?
Closing in.
Have you never played in a sandbox before?
I don't believe I have.
I have a feeling you don't know what a sandbox is.
You're playing it in a wrong and very dangerous way.
Of course.
Oh god.
Gritty, and it gets everywhere.
Don't.
Yes.
Don't you dare.
A-class dialogue.
We left Alexides and Kepri playing backgammon at the court of the Prince Patrician in the Great Casbah of Badashar.
Who won the game?
Who do you think?
It'll
I
be
mean,
off panel. We
Oh.
don't know. It'll be
you
one of those
must
things that we
have
don't
let him
necessarily-
win.
It'd be like
Come
the
on.
it'd be like the fight between Rocky and Apollo at the end of
Who?
yeah.
You have to
exactly.
let the patrician win.
I would never let him
Not
win.
let him win. He's not that guy.
Yeah.
No, Alexides wouldn't let him. No, he
Roll.
would try to.
Roll off.
Alexides would 100% try to win.
Roll off.
for real.
Roll off intelligences to see who wins.
Ooh, there you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
That's a good way to go.
We could do that.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
Alexides is not that smart. He's very
But don't
wise.
tell us
So
who
what's your
won.
intelligence?
A 12.
Oh, you should totally not tell us who won, by the way. Just secretly compare.
Why do you have to look?
He's got to know.
I had to know.
That was a natural 20, just for that. Sorry, the late great Harvey Knox would have. So, carry on. What did you roll?
14.
You rolled a 14. All right. Anyway, you don't know who won. One of those things that we just don't know.
We will know. You will.
Your characters know.
Yeah.
And they don't show up because they were enslaved.
Because
That was
Alexides-
the stakes.
Thrown in jail for beating
Well,
the Patrician
isn't this a
back.
fine pickle you've got us
Being
in?
a loser.
Isn't this a fine pickle?
I should never have saved you from the Black Casbah.
We join Atlas in Old Town. And I know that you were trying to find a couple of things. You had earlier met up with Arslan concerning some information that you were looking into.
Oh, and check on the
For
door
yourself.
while you're there.
What's that?
Okay.
We have there's no secrets.
Oh,
I mean,
we check-
checking
oh,
on
just
the
check on the door
checking
while
on the
you're
status of the door that's
The
being
door.
fabricated.
Our doorsmith.
oh, the door
door's
that is being
still-
fabricated
Yeah,
for
With the, by the carpenter.
Yes, tell us about this door, Cliff.
Right.
Why won't you tell us about the door?
So you check on the door, and you were looking. So you, and as well as looking on some other information that you were you were doing some deep background, and as well as trying to, I guess, follow up on your.
Just trying to find a nod.
Right. So
I know where he frequents within the bazaar area, so I'll try to find him.
Well, after you leave the carpenter who's making the stout door for your new digs in the small tower of Zabrath. Your path takes you past the Gilded Palm Tavern, and you see you find your quarry, Anad, the storyteller, being shooed out of the front door by Ali Benjara, the owner. Go, you gutter snipe! Find another place! This is not a charity! I have enough worries of myself! And words to that effect. And Anad gives him as good as he gets. I wouldn't drink the swill that you serve in there!
Anna, do you have a few moments?
And you can see that it takes him very little time to regain his composure and dignity. And the old storyteller pulls himself upright. What can I do for you, son of Rathik? I was settling up some affairs with the innkeeper.
Of course. Would you like to partake in a cup of tea with me and maybe a little something to eat?
Alas, you have caught me between professional situations.
Shall we go?
He's hinting that he doesn't have the coin.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So you go back inside, and or you go inside, and and Benjara looks, but he sees that he's with you, and that you're likely to pay. So he just shoots him kind of a nasty look, and you go inside.
Find a back table where we can talk.
You were always a good boy, Atlas. Thank you for your generosity.
Of course.
Although you were far more generous in your youth, I might mention.
There are good times and bad times. You can empathize.
Apparently the times have been leaner lately.
Pull out a few, Derek, and set it in front of him.
This one blesses you. May Baal shine his ever bright sun upon your future, except when one requires shadows, of course. And the money disappears instantly in the folds of his garments. The serving girl, Arbalama, comes over, and she smiles.
It's the one that our friends had, or my friends had run-ins with in the past. Wait till she sets things down and leaves.
Now, how can I help you, Atlas?
You might recall a few nights ago, Ralto was strung up on the gate.
Sad, nasty business. There were anyone of a number of men and women that would see him harmed, but it's a shame to see such a once a great practitioner of his art fall in such a way, and then to come to such an ignominious end. How are you? You and he were friends once, no?
We were. We'd on and off business partners. He was a good man. He didn't deserve to die that way.
I don't know that anybody else would use the word good to describe him, but...
Well, we speak well of the dead.
Yes, we do. Is that why you're here? I heard that you yourself have had cause to come across the Beggar King recently.
To that, that's actually part of the reason Ralto was one of his...
Ralto had fallen down into the shit in the piss like the rest of them.
Yes. He'd taken up with the Beggar King.
Well, the Beggar King had taken him, more like.
The method, or the way in which he was mutilated, what might you be able to tell me about that?
Probably not a pleasant way to go.
Well, I know, but you know so much. Who might be behind that?
I will tell you this, I do not know who is responsible for that atrocity. However, a man who lived that long has made many enemies, both in the past and now, but most especially in his past.
Reference had been made to another who had been mutilated in a similar fashion many years ago.
You're talking about the Vizier of the Black Hand?
Oh, yeah. Your memory serves you well.
I remember a fire. I remember a very, very powerful criminal gang was brought down by an insurgent power. Ralto was a part of the Black Hand then. He ran with them, if memory does serve. But that was before his best work. I think he was still finding his craft at the time.
Yeah, we all have to get our start somewhere.
Well, that was a nasty business. That particular gang, they didn't...
They were cruel.
They lived by a very cruel code, yes, that is true.
Might you be able to point me in the direction of some who, or could you do some...
Most of that gang,
digging, or...
most of the members of the Black Hand that are still alive are probably retired by now. But those that are still alive and still working probably work for Shen and are members of the Brass Rabbits. Most of them became... The Brass Rabbits is what more or less grew whole cloth from the Black Hand.
He was found not far from Shen's establishment. I had come out of that establishment the evening. I was the one who cut him down.
Well, perhaps that was intended more for Kundajen than for anyone else. A message, perhaps. But who would send such a message, I cannot say. The Vizier and the leaders of the Black Hand were all killed in the Brass Vespers, which you would know would be was when they made their move against when the nascent when the rebels, however you want to call them, made their move and displaced the Black Hand. That's the name that's given to it.
Would you be able to make inquiries?
It's never a hootenanny, it's always a Vespers.
Hold down, hootenanny.
Would you be able to make some inquiries? I'm pressed to try to find who might want to, who's behind his execution.
On your behalf?
On my behalf. And I will pay you handsomely.
How could I turn down the request of such a generous and thoughtful boy? You always were. Although your father was never any good.
I'll find you in a few days.
Maybe. And so food is brought. You leave him to his to eating and he finishes his pot of tea. They bring him the 100-year-old stew.
So good.
So good.
Never stop cooking.
Just like mothers used to make.
Literally. And having taken your leave of the old storyteller, what do you do?
I'm gonna head back over towards Arslan's shop. See what the rest of them are up to.
Speed, where did you go after your your matinee.
Well, I would have. There
I
was.
don't want to say nooner. That would have been classless.
Yeah, exactly.
It was also like earlier.
It was 10 in the morning anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
We're nothing if not a classy
Right.
Exactly.
group.
Classy group of thieves and whores.
Hey!
Hey, hold up here.
Hey, I resemble that.
Just saying, we all fight for our supper in different ways.
Fair
I
enough.
would. There were some other things I wanted to ask Godrigo now that he's in a good mood.
Okay.
Because Atlas had also asked me to ask Rut about Ralto. So
About.
about Ralto,
Okay.
kind of keep my ear to the ground about that. And I mean, technically, he did give me 40 gold derricks, so
So technically you're on the job.
yeah, I
Detective Sabrina's on the case.
have him paid to keep my ear to the ground there.
Yeah.
I would have poured him some of that nectar from our homeland.
Right. Tronja.
And Tranja, and lit his hookah for him, and was bathing, while he was smoking and drinking and relaxing on the bed. And I must say, Godrigo, though I don't normally like to mix business and pleasure, as I said, you are quite skilled.
And he has a self-satisfied smugness about him. He you can tell that he
Believes you.
yes.
A self-satisfied smugness that only a man basking in the afterglow can
Right,
have.
yeah. He has a similar worldview that as you are evincing at the moment, pretending to evince.
By the way, did you hear what happened to that thief, Ralto?
A thief, my love. I do not know of any thieves in this city. I do not truck with the usual vermin that you find here in this wall-less place.
Indeed, it was rather exceptional, though. They found him burnt, his hands blackened.
Unfortunate, although one can hardly say that it is less subtle a fate than awaits those who displease the Hierophant of Erlich or the Dread Overlord.
Fair enough.
You haven't been at this for as long as I have, Sabine.
It's true.
Yes, I know. Unless you're a lot older than you look.
No. I believe you know my exact age.
You should be careful. It's a very dangerous life. With, for the very many, only one likely outcome.
Yes. Then again, are we not happy to die for our Lord? Perhaps that's just me.
You get the sense he's making an insight roll to see if you believe what you're saying. And he looks at you and he says, he pats your hand in a
Where's your heart?
more avuncular way than in a more friendly, caring way than
Condescending.
and not lacking his earlier passion, whatever. Take care.
I've been thinking the same thing myself lately. Perhaps those we give our affections to do not give them back as readily as we think.
Particularly if you give your affection to a brick and mortar building or a statue, they're not capable of returning any human feelings.
If that is indeed what they are. That has yet to be determined. But I will take your advice to heart and think on it. I appreciate the spirit in which it was given.
Many Duminoi take what we are to heart and disappear like smoke. That remains a very real option to me. I know that it sounds foolishness. I am just ruminating in the afterglow. But be careful.
I will. I am fortunate to have friends looking out for me. I put my hand on his friendly affection. Oh, speaking of smoke, I cannot get this Relto thing out of my mind. Something about his hands being blackened. There was a group here, Black Hand, once. You don't think that has anything to do, some sort of message sent by blackening his hands, do you?
It seems like a very tidy explanation, and perhaps that is what was meant by it. But my brief never included dealing with the criminal elements of this place unless it required me to have someone disappear, and then I did not particularly. I didn't seek out organized criminals. There is any one of a number of rabble that will happily disappear someone for you here in these walls. They're far less organized about it here than they are back home about such matters. Death comes more. I wouldn't say death is any cheaper here. It just comes with far less pageantry.
Whose brief would it be to deal with such people?
Criminals in this city?
I mean, anyone from the Duminoi, perhaps, whose job it is to make such connections.
Here, you are the only one of our agents that I know of who is operating here officially, let's say. That having been said, there are many, many instances of our sort who go native. The head of one of the largest criminal cartels in Balkan was at one time one of our people.
Fascinating. How very native of them. Other than amongst the Duminoi, who might know information about what happened to Relto?
If it is so important to you, I will make inquiries.
Thank you. And I will come back and visit you again.
That would be nice.
I think it might be.
Where do you head?
I'm actually going to see Anapom.
Okay. And I know where you are. You are preparing yourself to depart at a certain point in the early. Well, and what was his name that departed?
What do you want on your tombstone? Pepperoni, mushrooms, and onion.
Oh yeah, who remembers those commercials?
I do, apparently.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Give me a brief update on where everybody is and what everybody's doing.
After Kepri and Alexides left the Grand Casbah, Alexides would go part ways, go back to the ziggurat and write a letter and have it find someone that he felt comfortable with Probably would pay a couple cold derricks to ensure that it gets back to Piranaport.
Oh, okay. You want to send a letter to Piranaport?
Yes.
Okay. And you, well, you're with Kepri. Tamik was you were with him, right? Was he with you when you went to get your letter?
I think we met up. Did we meet up?
We met up after the fact.
Yes, and I did say that I was sending my letter through the Silver Camel post service caravanserai, and then they came highly recommended, so you would know them. And you saw that I got my letter pretty prompt, so
Gotcha.
I must congratulate you. That was a well-spirited game you played there with the patrician there. Truly a masterstroke.
And he was shocking how it ended. He was
It was shocked. I did not see that coming at all.
Nor I. It is a game of both skill and luck.
Apparently so.
And it would seem that the luck of the gods smiled upon one who was playing the game.
Indeed, I believe we were all struck with the luck of our gods at witnessing such an event.
It was quite a sight.
Indeed. Who won? We will have to tell our companions of it sometime.
And that last move was
masterstroke.
Quite masterful.
Well, I will leave you to your. I believe I should meet up with Atlas to see about seeing Anupam's dear brother Anupam's bout.
I believe I have a few things that I must tend to, of course, as well as midday prayer services that I must attend, and then I will meet up with you afterwards.
Of course, we will. I will let them know that you are to meet with us. Best of luck in your prayers.
Thank you.
Make my way off to the shop, where I am currently squatting rent-free.
Wait, you're squatting?
Yeah, I sleep in the tree out back.
We should be heading over to gather Anupam for...
Have you ever...
And Atlas also arrives at your shop.
Have you ever
We
had
should
to
go gather Anupam.
sleep on the ground and worry about jackals? You sleep in the tree. No jackal worries.
But the leopards.
Yeah, just
that's all.
The leopards.
That is with the leopards to sleep in the
leopards.
cave.
Oh God, the leopards.
the bears.
The bears are only during a certain season. Kepri is actually very knowledgeable about. There is a
They've got a
literal
chart and
flow
a
chart.
schedule.
there is a
Everybody
hieroglyphic
signs up.
chart depending on
Is
what
it summer?
Right.
Is it summer?
The bears
Are there-
come up inside.
Are there
their name.
jackals? Are there jaguars?
It
Then
is a
sleep in cave.
They're not following you.
Wow.
jokes about where to sleep to avoid wild animals.
Nice.
Flow chart.
I respect that.
We should go collect Anupam and...
How did this school of fish get in this tree?
Well, you
They
see, he
signed
pulls
up
out a
for
chart
it.
and pulls out a pop out.
water spout.
There's one of those little tabs and you pull it and there's like a little hand.
Fishnado.
We just say it was the gods and be done.
Yeah. Let's try to count
I do
moods.
believe we are going to collect Anupam after we are done. If you catch my drift.
Does this traveling circus, does it come around
Murder
annually, or how often does it come around?
You remember it has been here before a few times. It doesn't necessarily come here every year. It's
here when it gets here.
It's here when it gets here. I mean, it's a very large place, and it travels. And you can see. I mean, were you here for the fight last week, or were you
The week before? Yeah, I believe
It
you
probably
were
needs a
the
few
week
years
you
for
were.
people to kind of forget how dangerous it is before new people will.
You do get the
Sign up.
sense from all the people that are there, in addition to the more unusual fighters that you've seen, like the Burgothian, who is the giant who's 8 feet tall, the massive Burgothian. He's from a land that's way to the far to the west and the north. There's also the beast creature, the hyena creature that's there, that is from outside. I mean, you've heard of such things in myth, but you've also heard of elves Notice my correct pronunciation of elves. Sorry, JRR. And you've heard of fairies, but those are generally things from, again, fairy tales and fear-baiting talk. So while you have heard of the ancient giant kings fighting the legions of hyena men, you assume that was just something from a book meant to impress, or a girl or somebody, or scare a kid or something.
Don't go off into those.
Or impress a kid and scare a girl, whatever.
Right, yeah.
Better eat your vegetables or the giant kings will come get you.
Right. Ho ho ho. Beat you to it. Green giant king.
Let's go.
How did it go with your search? Your information search?
Good. I might have to go talk to Chandra, but the storyteller's gonna make some inquiries to see if he can find out anything. Starting to think it was a message directed at Shin. Something we'll have to follow up with.
Yeah. Interesting. Are you ready?
I am. You'll forgive me for if we have a moment. I do have a question. You'll have to forgive me. I've not been in this city nearly as long. Shem and the Beggar King. What is their relationship? Are they de facto allies, bitter rivals, enemies?
Shin is a crime lord.
Yes, this I have come to learn in my short time here.
And the Beggar King, he has eyes and ears all over the city.
An information broker of sorts? A gang?
The urchins that you see all about you, those are his eyes and ears.
I have no doubt of it. There are many eyes and ears. I was merely curious, is all. I did not know their exact relationship, and I figured you two would be the more knowledgeable of our group on this.
It's a big city. There's probably multiple gangs.
I'd imagine. That's what I figured. It was like independent, sometimes boring, sometimes.
You got the Crips, you got the Bloods, you got the Bowery Boys, you got the Newsies.
You got the Shocks and the Jets. Okay.
Whereas Shin is the organized crime type, dealing with the Lotus, the gambling. He's into the money part of it. So.
And the Beggar King is a gang of rebels.
He's managed to organize the undesirables. And he is a broker of information.
And they can do more than collect information.
I have no doubt. Oh, thank you for satisfying my curiosity. Shall we go? Go collect our dear brother Anapon.
Is it time for that, or are they collecting him early?
No, they're gonna collect him afterwards.
I've made this.
They're making
Wait a minute.
arrangements.
I think you missed a piece over there.
It's all right. I made that joke under my breath like an hour ago.
Oh god. Okay.
Alexides will return from his.
And was that the only errand that you needed to do? Was you wanted to send off a missive at the caravan?
Yeah, and then I went back to the ziggurat for my daily second round of daily prayers to Lord Ball.
And the that's more of a formality than so you're keeping up appearances.
Yes.
All right. You want to keep? Is it because you want to keep your balls also, or?
The courtyard.
I mean,
Where's Sabine? I haven't seen her.
And you were heading over to gather Anapon at the ziggurat.
But I'd like to get all of us together.
Yes.
Indeed.
by the
I
way,
have
the gardens.
how do we say, a parting gift for our brother Anapon that will hopefully help him.
It's going to.
It's got a view.
If not in this life, then the next.
Yes.
Okay. I probably would be like sitting
We'll
on
see.
like the edge
If I have a
of
total
like where I can get like.
I'm
the
sure we
best
all
view,
have our
then,
thoughts and
if I'm
prayers
gonna have
to
be
send
sitting
him
for
on his
meditation,
way
so
down the river.
Probably like.
It's a very
like,
powerful
maybe
one,
like
apparently.
I'm picturing like a
And
stone
it's
guard ledge thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. I'm probably just sitting on the edge of that.
Right.
He'll
Fight fire with fire.
And
And
I wanted to.
ball-ish.
You're ball-ish.
Like I got the high holidays.
Until did you procure this talisman?
High holy
Just here and there?
days. Yeah.
That's what I do.
Fair enough. I would, I default to your expertise. You are the master merchantman, after all.
Would it be possible for me to get to Anapon before they do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just
Yeah,
walking
ahead of us. We see you up ahead of us. Like, why is she in a rush? Away from us.
She wants to get to him before we do.
Hashtag Stabity.
Huh. That's,
Bringing it all full circle.
Yeah. You never thought it'd be used on you, did you?
frankly, I expected it to be used sooner.
So yeah, you would find me in the garden, like actually sitting on top of the rail, not the rail, but the ledge that's kind of overlooking the city, sitting on top of that.
She'd come and sit next to you.
Oh. Well, I was expecting you to yell at me next time I saw you.
What would that accomplish?
Fair point.
I don't suppose you can be
No.
persuaded. No. And do you still intend to run if you find that the fight is not fair?
I do.
And do you consider this to be a fair fight?
As long as I'll know when to run.
And you are content that these people are using you, swindling you.
Well, if I know they're doing it.
Oh, they are, I assure you.
No, I mean, I know they are. I'm just saying, if I'm aware of the fact that they are swindling me, then are they really?
They are making use of you, and you are allowing it.
Well,
You are putting your country at risk, and you are alright with that. For the sake of the possibility to grow stronger.
Since the last time I given them those drafts, was I able to produce any more in the interim? I know I have one left, and I know it takes a little bit of time to make them.
Yeah. You have another one.
look, focusing on whether or not I'm going to win or lose today, it's not going to change the outcome of what's going to happen.
Indeed.
The only thing I can do is do what I was planning to do in the beginning.
And that is?
Fight.
That seems a rather abstract strategy.
Simple plans are often the most effective.
And do you have a question for me?
Where are you from?
I said that I would tell you the truth. I am from Badishar. That is the truth.
I meant originally.
Yes?
You were born here.
No. I am from here. I am from here. I am from the vengeance of 1,000 women. I am from the screams of 1,000 children. But I am from Badishar.
Oddly enough, I'm content with that answer.
And would it benefit you to be more content going into your fight? I'm asking if you want a woman.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow. Well.
Is that kind of a night?
Well.
Coach tells me I'm not supposed to do that on the night before a fight. You're saying it's okay?
Oh, that was great.
Oh my god, that's literally what was running through my mind too.
That's what I was thinking. Wait, what does she know that I
Take on my
Her female yin will mess up your chakra.
Just don't let her cut your hair.
Well, technically, it would clear my second chakra, but
I'm sure it'll clear a lot of things up.
I appreciate the offer, but I'm fine. I need to focus right now.
Farewell.
What would be a composure roll?
Wisdom save?
Willpower.
Make a
wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom save.
survival,
I mean, for like,
which is also strangely wisdom.
yeah. I mean, they're both the same thing anyway.
Yeah.
You really want me to roll for this?
Yeah,
All
I
right,
do.
okay.
Well, sure, absolutely.
Okay, sure. I mean, I don't mind. I'm just saying. Oh, 19.
Okay, I mean, I'm just wondering. I'm sort of joking in a way,
Yeah,
but, not,
yeah.
but I mean,
No, man, but
so you
yeah,
maintain your composure.
I dig it.
But I'm assuming that it took me by surprise.
Yeah.
So it must have taken Alma by
Most
surprise.
definitely it did.
And I'm bald.
Oh, most definitely.
I know all this shit.
The
I
guys
was
were
saying, I thought I
"We
made
hadn't
it obvious that it
expected
took him by surprise.
Right.
From the tapestry.
that." Is there anything else I can do to help you prepare?
You can sit with me.
Very well.
And sitting quietly and enjoying each other's company in within a short space of time, you are joined by the rest of the zealots.
Ah, Brother Anupam. We have, seems you look rested.
I am.
That is good. We have, gifts for you to help you on your fight. I know it's more
We
than most.
do.
I have but a small trinket.
I have a totem for you. You wear it in your hair.
Okay.
It is Bergothian, too. So you can take the spirit away from him.
I appreciate the thought. Thank you very much.
And it's basically a braided thing that you braid through your hair with rings that lock it in.
All right.
I have.
Pretty sure I can do this some point before the fight. Oh, thank you.
I have a small little trinket. This, he pulls out like one of the eyes, like the eye of Horus, the eye of Harket.
Oh.
It is supposed to bring prosperity and long life.
What do you mean supposed to? It does.
Believe me, I know this to be true in my heart of hearts. Sometimes it doesn't bring us prosperity and long life as long as you would like it. But I'm sure it'll work great for Brother Anupam.
I, again, appreciative. Thank you very much.
Put it on. Just a little something.
I too have something for you.
A knife.
No, not a knife.
Have you heard of a gun before?
This will definitely give you the advantage.
Holy hand
It's the
grenade.
bus ticket.
Even better.
I prayed for you today, and in doing so, thought that this might be of assistance. And I produced like a small vial of oil that I give you.
My goodness, it is a cold day in the nine hells, I think.
If he seeks to grab you, perhaps this will make you a little bit more slippery.
Thank you.
That's more practical than anything.
I mean,
like greasing up
that
the
probably actually is the most practical thing that anybody could have given me.
Grease me up. Rips the shirt. Grease me up.
Yeah.
That's actually really good.
Grease me up. And
That's
give me
almost
the
as good as a totem from the Bergothian.
How far or how long when was the fight?
You're close to when you want to be going down there.
I folds my garb. I pull out 2 vials. Remember the vial I gave you when you were injured.
Oh yeah, the one that made me feel much better.
Yes. Here are 2.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Put some distance if you find yourself on the
One thing I can do is put distance.
injured size. Put some distance between yourself and him.
Oh,
Drink one of those. It'll make a difference.
oh thank you. Really?
Feels like Mother Palm's name day. With how many gifts
Yeah,
you can
seriously. I feel...
Blessed to have such great friends.
Actually, yes.
The only one that didn't give you a gift is Sabine. I don't see it.
I mean, she offered. No.
She tried.
I don't know if it's the most valuable gift, but it's the best gift. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I don't know if it's the most useful gift, but it is the best gift.
And it would get even better with all the oil.
I mean, yeah.
Got that a little late.
Yeah, could have used this earlier.
She did braid your
Yeah.
totem into your hair, though.
What color is it?